What's good? What's good? We're back. Yours truly, one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much, much more. Today, I'm going to try to bang out a bunch of videos today. The first one we're going to get into is the biggest problems in hip hop right now. Before we do that, it's only fitting that I give you a advertisement from promopalace.biz. Why I sip on some of my Coke.
And promotion? Then look no further than Promo Palace LLC, your one-stop shop for all music promotion services. Services include Spotify playlist pitching, YouTube video promotion, record pool promotion, blog placements, radio airplay promotion, SoundCloud promotion, and much more. With over 2,000 customers and over 10 years of experience in online promotion, Promo Palace LLC is a company you can trust. For more info, please go to promopalace.biz. See you there.
That's right. You heard a beautiful lady. If you need online marketing promotions for your music product, brand, or service, please go to promopalace.biz. You see it scrolling below. Get marketing and promotions at promopalace.biz. And I've been trying to do more music-related topics of late, so we're going to get into another one. This one's titled "The Biggest Problem in Hip Hop Right Now," and I'm going to react to another one with Ed Lover talking about why New York lost its identity in hip hop. Let's get into it though.
Pop song or album in the year 2023. To put this into perspective, this type of drought hasn't happened since 1993, so we gotta ask ourselves, what is going on? Is hip-hop dying? Has the music just been bad? Are there no superstars releasing music? What is going?
First things first, I wouldn't call it all hip-hop. I would call a lot of it just rap culture, a lot of this emo rap and sad rap. It's just, to me, it's just rap culture. It's not hip hop culture. But let's keep it moving.
On. When it comes to the answer of this question, the reason why there has been a drought within the hip hop world, the answer is much more complicated than any of that. To start understanding why hip hop is in the position it's in right now, we need to go back in time. Since the birth of rap music, there has been one thing consistent about the art form, and that is its constant evolution. This evolution has spawned an array of different movements and subgenres over the years. From G-Funk on the West Coast to Boom Bap on the East Coast to the crunk and the bling eras in the 2000s, the tides of hip-hop have evolved alongside the popular sounds of each era. Looking at the sonic movements in the modern landscape of hip-hop, since the mid-2010s, there has been one sound only dominating everything, and that is trap music. With artists like Future.
And let me stop right there for a second. At least in the 90s, you had gangster rappers that were popping, dropping albums. You had, and even when the South started hitting, you had Southern artists, dropping albums, popping. You know, even though like Atlanta didn't really blow up around Crisscross time, but Jermaine Dupri put Crisscross out. And they came out of Atlanta, and they were huge when I was a kid. You know, you had conscious rappers, you had the backpack rappers, you had rappers that were just hardcore rappers, not necessarily gangsters or thugs or shoot 'em up, bang bang. They were just hardcore rappers. You had the clean rappers, you know, the Will Smiths of the world and the Skilos of the world that really didn't cuss in none of their music. You had a lot of variety, a lot, I guess you could say, more diversity into this to different kinds of artists. And now you typically just got a large majority of one type of artist and then a few at the top, you know, that stand out. And that's it.
Young Thug and Lil Uzi Vert at the forefront of modern trap, this was the sound that made hip-hop the commercial juggernaut that it became in the 2010s. From the infectious melodies to the memorizing beats, this is the sound that revolutionized hip-hop into the commercial juggernaut that it became in the 2010s, and it's the sound that the biggest artists in the rap game still use today. What's alarming about the fact that trap is still the leading sound in hip-hop today? It's that in hip-hop history, there has never been a single sound that has stayed around at the forefront as long as trap music. Historically, one style has been,
which basically validates what I just said. Like there was always just more variety, you know. Like mainstream hip hop back in the days, you had the commercial mainstream sounding hip hop, and you had underground records hitting mainstream because you like records like Andy Up, MOP was a super big hit, especially in the clubs and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a dance record and a typical radio hit record whatsoever. But now it is. It's dominated by this one sound. Everybody's just doing this one sound. Nobody's really trying to stand out. They're just going along with it, going along with the wave, no originality. And as long as everybody keeps doing the same one sound, how is it going to change? How is it going to evolve?
at the forefront for a few years, maybe half of a decade, until a new style gets hotter, but this is not the case right now. Hip-hop is still fixated on this sound well after a decade of its prominence, and with the best days of trap being way behind us, the genre is facing an innovation problem, but it goes even deeper than this. Just as the sounds from era to era change, so do the faces of hip-hop. From Biggie and Tupac to Jay-Z and Nas, the faces of the rap game were always changing within the eyes of the people, and this is what kept the genre so unpredictable and exciting in the 90s and the 2000s. In the early 2010s, the big three of Kanye West, Eminem, and Lil Wayne were replaced by Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole. And just like trap,
and don't get me wrong, man, it's not like, you know, I don't think he's trying to like put down these three or nothing like that. I think for this era, they're definitely the greats of this era. Kendrick Lamar has put out less music than Cole, and Drake has been considered the number one, you know, the greatest in this, you know, last decade or so. Then you would have Drake and J. Cole, basically. I mean, Drake is definitely bigger than them success-wise, hit records, but like as far as hip-hop goes, people put Kendrick as the GOAT of the last decade, and then probably Cole, and then maybe Drake. There's a lot of hip-hop heads that wouldn't even put Drake up there because they don't consider him hip-hop, but I do. And I think, you know, he's just basically replaced Wayne, and Kendrick and Cole basically replaced Eminem and Kanye, which makes sense. Like Kendrick's basically replaced, you know, Eminem and J. Cole, Kanye, because J. Cole produces all his own records, you know, and whatnot, which makes sense. And of course, you know, I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina, born and raised where J. Cole, you know, is from Vietnam. And so, yeah, definitely proud of what, you know, I know me being from the city, I'm proud of to say that, yeah, you know, Vietnam has been in the top 10 or top 3 for over a decade now. You know, you got Vietnam, Canada, and Los Angeles, Toronto, Los Angeles, and Vietnam. Top
music over a decade later, and Kendrick, Cole, and Drake are still considered rap's big three. In a world where Drake and J. Cole have alluded to retirement, and Kendrick Lamar has only released a single album in the last 5 years, how come hip-hop is fixated on rappers whose time in the limelight is very limited instead of looking at what a future big three could hold? When you look at everything within this lens, the answer becomes more and more apparent. From the trap sound to Kendrick, Cole, and Drake being the longest instated big three in the eyes of the culture, we can see that hip hop is frozen, and this is because we are trapped within an artistic algorithm. In today's digital world, music consumption has moved so fast that it actually hasn't moved at all. From the streaming exploits to the TikTok trends, labels have put more pressure on artists than ever to find success immediately, and it has caused the creative parameters that have been used in the past to fold in on themselves. This is why most big rappers or artists with record deals focus on getting those golden 7 seconds or nostalgia baiting fans by using a sample of an already beloved song. The main thing being preached in the industry is to blow up instantly and make buzz, and this is killing the natural flow of creativity. Look at an artist like Coi Leray.
But before it goes into that, I mean, think about it. Why are people saying Kendrick Lamar is the GOAT of the decade? Because he's actually took more time into his projects. Both for Kendrick Lamar's first albums are classics, in my opinion. In my opinion, a classic. The second one took us a while to grow on me, or took a few listens to grow on me. But after I listened to it a second or third time, I was like, wow, this is an amazing album. You know, especially with what we're being given in this day and age as choices of consumption for music. And I guess that's why, you know, I can see why I was so big on a cat like Joyner Lucas, because you know he will put so much thought, so much time and energy into this package deal of a song and a music video, and you know just really creating this amazing thing that you can appreciate. And you know, like I respect it. Like I always say, I respect the cat like NBA YoungBoy, because I think, like I said, I think he gets it. Like why he pumps out more music than nobody. It's like he pumps out more music than everybody else, and he's number two on streaming behind Drake. And it's like, why doesn't nobody else get of why he pumps out so much music? Because, like they said, it's just about like the algorithms, you know, triggering algorithms. And I guess the easiest way to keep triggering algorithms is once you have a piece of content that's already triggering algorithms, you need to drop another piece of content quick, like to trigger algorithms even more and more and more and more, you know. And like what they say, you're only as good as your last single or your last song, you know. And the game is so oversaturated, 100,000 songs per day. How are you supposed to just really stand out and get a ton of traffic with 100,000 songs per day, except drop a song damn near every single week, like NBA YoungBoy? I don't know if he still does, but I know for a long time he would just drop a song every single week with a music video to go along with it. Let's get back to
Had
it.
2 viral TikTok hits in recent memory alone. Would you be surprised if I told you that she just dropped her sophomore album, and despite her high monthly listeners, despite how many people know her TikTok songs and how many people share them, her album only sold 10,000 copies and charted this low on week 1. Coi Leray's failure reveals a further point about the decline in interest in hip-hop at the moment. Despite some artists making massive hits that people dance to and share with their friends, these are not converting people into actual fans of the entirety of the art being presented in front of them, and with most of the industry using this as their main strategy towards success. It's no wonder why no new artist is captivating audiences the same way that Kendrick, Drake, Cole, or any of the stars from the past decade could. So when we look at
You know why? Because, you know, good music has always been good music. You know, I've only been alive since 79, so I'm an 80s baby, but I listened to the 70s music in the early 80s, and good music was good music then. Classic albums were classic albums then. You know, none of that's changed. Good music. This feel good music. This idea of feel good music that hasn't changed. You know, and nobody's really making feel good music no more. Nobody's really making good music no more. None of that's changed. It was the same in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s. It's just the last decade. Like nobody's really the only music act I think that's really put out some feel good music in the last decade, to me, in my opinion, was still Sonic, Bruno Mars, and Anderson Pop. They was putting out that feel good music, and it's not necessarily about a specific sound. It's about music that just makes you feel good. That's why it calls feel good music. Like trap music doesn't. How is trap music supposed to make you feel good? I mean, how we gonna call trap music great music? It's hard to call something great music when there's no substance to it. There's nothing of substance, you know. Like people could say what they want about Pac as being thug life, this, that, and the third. Pac didn't really start getting pop until the Juice movie and then his second album when he started dropping Dear Mama, Shed So Many Tears. The songs that made people think, made them feel a certain way, that made people feel good, like it made mothers feel good. I know that much. I know Dear Mama made mothers feel good. So it's feel good music, if it makes you feel good, it's feel good music. Pac definitely made mothers feel good on Dear Mama. And he probably made a lot of non mothers feel good because there was probably people that just started feeling good about, you know, loving their mothers or the relationship they had with their mothers, or, things of that nature. Like trap music, feel good? Nah, let's keep it moving. It's just a little bit left.
At hip hop's decline commercially, we see the biggest problem facing the genre right now. Rap has a creativity and innovation problem, and as long as labels prioritize virality over creativity, we are going to stay frozen in this state of limbo. With that said, as the genre continues to bring in diminishing returns, changes will inevitably be made, so the question we have to ask ourselves is, when will the next era of rap music truly commence? While we can't fully guarantee that this is the dawn of a new sound, and even that a new big three is upon us, what we do know is that even in the mainstream, there has been a wave of creative titans opening up borders with new sounds and ideas, and as these artists continue to gain support and grow some of the largest fan bases in the game, it's only a matter of time until something major happens. So to answer the big question that many have been asking, is hip hop dead? Well, the answer is clearly no. Even despite the genre commercially doing now.
Hey, let me chime in right there. I don't, cause hip hop's not dead. It's just underground. Like I said, in the '90s, it mainstream considered the under, you had the underground sound and you had mainstream sounds in the mainstream. Now mainstream is just mainstream sound. It's just all trap. It's all one sound, and underground is underground. The underground sound is totally underground. There was underground artists that actually got mainstream success and appeal, you know, back in the '90s. But when there's one sound dominates, I mean, in the mainstream, and everybody wants to be mainstream, they're gonna do this one sound. And as far as a new big three, like who right now would be a big three that would, I don't see three artists that could take Drake, Kendrick, and Cole's spot. I don't see those artists that command that fan base, command that attention and demand that attention, right now I don't see the replacements. I'm not seeing it, man. There's no. I mean, Kendrick Cole and Drake can stay top 3 for an awful long time as long as they keep making good music and Kendrick keeps making great music. And Drake has made some good and great music, you know what I'm saying? And Cole's made some great, like Forest Hills, probably my favorite album, and I think that's a lot of people's favorite albums. I don't think everything Cole makes is necessarily just great music, but he makes good music, especially because he consistently makes good music, especially in this day and age, in this climate, and this sound, you know. So yeah, man, I don't know where hip hop goes from here, really.
Not as well as it has in years past, there has never been such a wide range of artists from the top to the underground doing amazing things and creating such a wide range of amazing experiences. If you think hip hop is dying, you should subscribe to my channel ASAP so you can hear about.
All right, so yeah, man. Everybody doing one sound, that's not gonna work. That's like, yeah, these cats, they get their little single success, they get their numbers, but it doesn't make for classic albums. It doesn't make for classic singles. I would argue like 10, 15 years from now, these artists with these trap sounds, as their fan base, grows older, gets more responsible, gets families, kids, I would argue that they're going to go less and less to these shows. They're going to go less and less to these shows. I don't think this kind of music is really going to age well when it comes to touring. I don't think it is. I don't think it's going to age well because none of these songs. There's so many, 100,000 songs per day. There's so much music being put out. It's none of this music is none of these singles really just stand out. Like, oh my gosh, this single is just the amazing single in rap that's going to 10, 20 years from now be like, it takes two to make a thing go right. It takes two to make it out of sight. I'm not seeing it, man. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I just don't think this trap music is going to age well for touring. Don't think it's going to age well, period, because it just doesn't. It's not really great music. It's not really good music. It's not no feel good music. It's not classic music. It's none of those things. I don't think of none of that when I think of trap music. I don't think of like a classic trap album. Wow, that just sounds so weird to me. Once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in, Paul Pickett Podcast, and I'm out.